When by mammoth seasons the world's clock winds it down, nature forgets her reason, the witching hour sounds. But when the great turn comes, the soil becoming dead, the gods sent out errands, prophets with divine bread. To one remote place, cemented in ice, there arrived such a man, a prophet, and by his side a wife, holding high their prize, which she produced from a pouch of impenetrable leaf, scale, and leather. We've crossed by wastes to bring this seed, born of the world tree whose branches heard you plead. We've crossed a solid sea, that your children might yet see life. Plant this, and its sprout will warm the soil. Its fruits will call higher orders of life to feed and breed. And though the sky's gone dark, though the stars may shun, you will know a vegetable sun. Its blooming will restore spring and entice the heavens again. "These are tales and fancies of the elders," responded the townsfolk. "You speak of flowers to a people who have not seen them in generations, and of making dirt pregnant with edible forms. This is nonsense, surely." "I speak of flowers to a people who will see them in their own lifetimes, if they heed these words," responded the prophet. Faith struck them, and they could not resist the intuition that the stranger was sincere, and with him their fathers' fathers. They rejoiced and called that Savior to partake of what little they had. Salted and mineral concoction, long dead and anciently preserved supplies, they grew boisterous in celebration, and drank together the last wine of eras past. "We can never thank you for bringing this most precious thing." "I count it as nothing, for it was given me to give away, and though this flower may restore the life of your fields, nothing is more precious to me than the flower that every day enlivens my own heart, this beloved who you see with me, who ventured the frozen scape with her mad husband." "Enough, you're embarrassing me." "Ha ha! Women love compliments even as they love blushing at them." And so the celebration went deep into the night. But one among the crowd recused himself in stealth, and though he smiled broad, inside he brooded, and in his chest brewed sin. When came the time to part and plant that shining grain, the chieftain of the town invited the prophet and his wife to dine with him. After the meal was done, he asked his guests, "Is it time, dear saviors?" "It is. Is it time for you to give us that most precious flower, O prophet?" "It is yours, dear chief." And the prophet placed the seed he'd brought upon the table before him. But no sooner had the words been spoken than the chief's guards fell upon the prophet's wife. "What is this?" The prophet spoke, his wife crying out as if wounded. "Ah, did you not say she is the most precious flower you behold? You would abuse one who is sent by heaven, whose mission's end is a new beginning for your people? Oh, enough. I'm doing my people a favor, dissuading other charlatans such as you from darkening their reason by kindling hope. I know well your talk of heaven and missions is a show for the rabble. I believe in nature and in her fickle ways running their course quite apart from the actions of a lowly village chief such as myself. Now, I am not so coarse as to leave you with nothing, so take some water for your journey back to wherever you came from. A slab of ice, there, we've plenty of that, and a match with which to heat it. Should you find something that you can kindle as easily as you kindle the irrational instincts in my people." The seeding saint did not go, but stayed in a forest nearby. The chief declared him a liar, and though not all believed him, they believed his threats. And they believed in the reprimand that would surely fall on whoever fed or gave refuge to the prophet. Knaves and murderers, for the man who had come to save them soon starved under an oak tree. Nor did his wife acquiesce to being joined to the dastardly depraved. He certainly wanted her, but not in the way that might have been expected, or at least not exclusively, not even primarily. What he wanted was for her to eradicate the suspicion among his townsfolk that he had ruined their chance at a new life. So he invited her to his chamber each night and offered some new gift in return for her declaring her husband a liar. Finally, she devised a plan of escape by means of aid lent by some of the chief's men whose loyalty was to the old stories. Before it was to be, she asked for the seed her husband had brought. That was her price for declaring him a deceiver, she said. Embarrassed, but not wanting to waste the opportunity and believing that the sentimental value of such a thing was likely to make the woman's offer sincere, the chief admitted that he had kept the thing, merely as a curiosity, so he said, and gave it to her. She placed it in the impermeable pouch that had preserved it from the cold on the long journey, and returned to her room, claiming to need some time to settle her thoughts. Now was the hour of escape. A sentry was sent out, however, when the chief went by the room and saw she wasn't there. Those who had helped her could not suppress it, and though she dodged the chase, she paid with injury, as a lance was thrown, for the chief's orders were to return her or be done with her. Alone, a blood-draped maid in pregnant beginning, for when the prophet had spoken of her floral radiance, he had, in truth, perceived the stirrings of life. And just as he carried bounty for the soil, she carried it for him and for humanity's tomorrow. The woman took her refuge under the same tall oak that her husband had expired near. There she asked the tree to give of itself, asked that she might live long enough to birth her husband's son. "I will, but hear the price. For every full moon that you see, a lifetime your spirit will spend asleep in me," said the oak, knowing it would take many generations before the village would be free of the corruption spawned by its chief, before the seasons of cosmic alignment allowed for its redemption. She accepted, and 9 months later died in childbirth. But the youngling was protected by the forest's last living pillar until a woman of good heart wandered by. She was searching for fruit in vain, except finding the brood. The soul of that child's mother slept in the tree, marking it in the white and red of her skin and blood, connected in dormancy to the seed she had stolen away, which rested in her pouch, preserved and sealed off from the world. And by her light, the specter of her husband, whose mission to save the village was not complete, receiving therefore new life, different life, life beyond life, as the gods would not suffer to let him fail. And of that life he gave to the village that it would see a partial spring, that there would be something left to save when finally there came a living one who could find the seed and plant it, their own descendant. He kept that flower seed lit until after the 9th generation of her line, when her spirit finally spoke, and she was born to the world again. Sancho opened his eyes, pausing the lucid trance of remembrance. "So the Green Grim is the prophet, and the girl who disappeared, she's his wife. But why take her? Why not guide her to digging up the body of another lifetime and recovering the seed?" "I think they have to be together the way they were during their journey for the seed to be recoverable. There's something about their reuniting that's central to all this, but the story, there's more. Though the Green Grim kept the town from dying, heaven's renewed covenant did not come to this place. Rather, to the darkness of that absence, like moths to fire, and to the smell of the chief's wickedness came something else. And I think I know what." "Well?" "Quick, the governor, the tyrant who imprisoned your predecessors, where did he live?" "The mayoral office, a big glass building in the center."